everyone. Thank you, Touch RGB, making this happen. So right now we will have a half an hour quick panel discussion about design shakeup and the way disrupting the way we design, right? So I will do a really, really quick, short intros of each of the panelists, and then we can dive to different questions, which will be really, really interesting to discuss this topic. So Dance is a renowned creative director and digital artist from London, recognized for his groundbreaking work with global brands like Nike, Adidas, Disney, and Sony Music. A captivating keynote speaker at top design festivals worldwide, such as Adobe Max, Off, and now Touch, too. He launched Blob Academy in 2021, nurturing the next generation of designers through mentorship and agency expertise. Co-founded of award-winning creative agency Studio Blob, Dennis' relentless pursuit of innovation and his magnetic personality propelled the industry forward, earning him the estimated EMA 100 Champion for Change Award in 2023. So say hello to Dennis again.
Thank you, brother.
So next one is Jimmy Elias, founder of Studio Jimmy Elias and creative director experience design, living and working in Cologne, Germany. In the past 15 years, Jimmy emphasized crafting experiences in the digital sphere, during which he served as a user experience lead for experience design on award-winning experiences and projects. Since 2019, he founded Studio Jimmy Elias, a context-driven design studio specializing in multidisciplinary service in which experience design, research, strategy, and art direction intervene. So say hi to Jimmy again.
Thank you.
And yeah, the last, Jonas. I hope it's not me. So Jonas Lempa, co-owner and manager director of digital innovation at Takanauten. You already heard many things about the organization and the agency. Make it clear. He has been a jury member and former president of awards for over 10 years. So as part of Takanauten, the award-winning agency based in Berlin, he specialized in the enablement of companies and ventures to create digital products and services, solving user problems through the symbiosis of engineering and design. So say hi to Jonas. Quite huge interest, but I had to outline everything that those guys has a huge credibility on the design world, and especially, let's start speaking about disrupting the way we design, right? So I have a first question for maybe all of you, and we can start from this, is that what non-design software or application have you found most useful or for generating design ideas?
So generating ideas is probably one of the hardest things that a creative can do, right? And sometimes you get a little bit of a creative block. So what I tend to do if I'm struggling, I'm thinking, I can't think of that idea. What is it? I just get outside, call my friends, I call my family, and I just talk to people. Because sometimes it doesn't always have to be digital. Okay, so sometimes it could just be a good conversation. In London, we have pubs, bars, so I can just go there, have a quick drink. I might meet a guy who's 65 years old, have a conversation, and something in me just kind of bubbles up to kind of generate some ideas. And as soon as I get back to the studio, or get back home, I've got my sketchbook, and I'm sketching away. And I think this process, just to kind of break away from the shining lights of your digital screen, to interact with real people, this is the way I think gives me the most inspiration when I'm lacking in creativity.
Perfect. So the human and your hand.
The human touch, bro.
So what's your...
Okay.
Well, I think tools are just temporary, right? So a couple of years ago, we would sit here and celebrate Sketch. You remember? yeah, for example, and tools are just temporary. Of course, you deep dive into it, you learn it, and so on and so forth. But I think it is important to also let loose tools. I think this is very important because this is the hardest thing when you're kind of an advocate. You see people with Figma tattoos and shirts and whatever, yeah, because they're so big fans. But who says that this will be still around in a couple of years, whatever? And then getting the moment to feel untouched from that, saying no to that, and explore new things which are maybe more complicated or maybe limited in their functions, but can leverage your way of thinking, your way of working, and your way how you look at certain things is something I would say is, in this context, what you ask, also very helpful. Being ready to get unattached. Unattached, thank you.
Yeah.
Unattached from things. I think this is staying open for new things, yeah.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can only agree with both perspectives. I see it exactly the same, really, like going out, like talking with people, getting the knowledge from different perspectives. And also you mentioned the sketchbook. I'm shocked how many people are so early enough jumping to digital. So they start the creativity sometimes in Figma or a few earlier Sketch and so on. And for me personally, even when I need to come up with a new concept, it's very important to me to just sketch it without the restriction of the 440 pixels width or this exact width doesn't work, or like restrictions. We are so much boxed. So sketchbook, talking with other people, and also visiting other disciplines. This is something I love doing, and I always suggest that creatives do. We are so much in the digital or design sphere that sometimes we forget how much we can learn from neighboring industries, engineering, fashion design, stage design, lighting design, and so on. This is something pure, a source of creativity for me, far away from tools and digital tools.
Agree. Well, thank you.
May I add one thing to that?
Of course.
Because I think it's also interesting to know that there's no problem which haven't been solved before in the past in some way, right? So I know it sounds so freaking boring, but history is also sometimes very interesting in solving challenges, as also we learned from Sophia, for example, where we're talking about the Industrial Revolution, and at the same time we have now this AI revolution. So history is also a very, very good source of getting approaches to solve problems which already have been solved in some similar way in the past.
Thank you. So, yeah, you mentioned several things, right? So when I stated this question, my intention was, well, non-design tools. But non-design tools, well, what the people said is that people, your sketchbook, your napkin, maybe,
Yeah.
and even looking to the history of how things were made. But we can't avoid the AI thing about the generating some ideas on the writing perspective or images and everything on that side. So can you share the things about how AI can disrupt the way we do things and eliminate some tasks and even help us to do things more creative or more value-creative way?
Amazing. Listen, I am the worst person to write. All I can do is draw, and I mean, when I'm trying to describe something and write it, I couldn't think of it. So I think when the whole chatbot came about, you know, the ChatGPTs, the Bards, I could finally just write bullet points, and it can communicate to my design team what I want. And it makes it so efficient that whereas before I'd be stressing because I've got to think about the idea, then I've got to write the brief, and then I've got to sign it off by the client, where now my workflow is a little more easier. And I think that's really benefited me a lot. And the other thing I think as well is having automated, say, emails, for example. So there are a lot of tools now that actually automate your emails, like Notion, where it's a simple reply back to your team to say, okay, guys, we need to talk around 9:30, 12 o'clock, and it will send it to them at 9 in the morning for me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, cool. And the next minute they're on my phone and we're talking and we're creative. Whereas before, I have to squeeze it in, write it, and then I'll forget another thing. But this is why I've got a piece of paper, right? Because there is so much information and so much stuff going through your head, you need to simplify your workflow in your day. So the best way is obviously helping AI to help your workflow, but also a simple notepad like the sketchbook to really just generate your ideas and just make sure it's set in concrete. So that's my.
What's your top?
Yeah, for me, it's I'm not that much involved in AI in terms of technology, but it is part of my daily work. I never saw it as a threat, maybe because I was ignorant about it in the beginning. I don't know, but I still don't see it as a threat. And really, as was mentioned also in some of the keynotes, it's like this is the era of AI, and yeah, let it be. It's like, and I guess designers we're pioneers in like making anything or everything make for our own favor. Like, who would have said 30 years ago that designer would be leading companies or taking decisions in a business meeting or discussing marketing targets and so on. So I see AI the same way. So when I research about target audience, I do interviews with real users. I purchase studies, but I also ask ChatGPT to give me something like some worries about millennials or Generation X or whatever, and so on. So ChatGPT, that it is a fact that we don't, when we construct a website, we don't have this blind text or this lorem ipsum and so on, that we can already have the first draft of a design, which is already with real texts, and so on. So I have many, many use cases in the entire experience design process where I use it as a tool. Would I use it the first thing to initiate things? Not much. But it's really like a great help for me, and it will stay, I guess, as a great help. And I really don't have this fear of that it's replacing designers and it's the evil and so. And these words that you see, there's no bad designers. There's only designers that don't know AI will be bad, and so like yeah, crazy. But as every hype, I need to recall something here. We all knew it. There's also AI. Like more than 10 years ago, there was this logo for $5 or something like this. There were tools since 15 years that can give you 10 logos in 5 seconds for $5. Why we are still working and doing branding for a lot of more than $5? So I really have more faith that technology will be always as a tool and assistant for us, more than a replacement. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Jan? Or maybe you can take AI things too.
I mean, what we are doing oftentimes is creating own bots with ChatGPT, like using the LLM for specific project setups. So when you, for example, you need to document things anyways, right? I don't know if you're, depending on the size, but you're working with Confluence or Notion, you're putting things in the cloud, there's maybe a task manager to do Jira, whatever, yeah, and all these things to organize or to document, but at the same time, you're creating content. And this content you can feed your little robot and learn and use it, yeah. For example, if there's a persona in it, or maybe some research or whatever, you at least can ask, hey, what kind of connections do you see there? Yeah, just as an input, because sometimes you are blocked, or because you're working, I don't know, on client side, you're working for a company for, I don't know, which produces cars for 5 years. Of course, you're only thinking about possibilities of cars and not what maybe Airbnb is doing or whatever. So with these little bots, you're feeding basically the input out of your project and can ask this bot very, very quickly just to give you some input. And it's super easy. Yeah, it always sounds like, oh, I need to create a bot. Well, no, it's just like there's an input field, copy, paste, upload. And that's it, yeah. And with that, we can really use that in a closed environment. You're not feeding ChatGPT or OpenAI with that if you're a pro account, so it's just there with you. So this is something, even if it's a smaller project or project you haven't been working for a longer time, this is a really good way to deep dive into that very quickly and very specific just by asking those questions. So that's something we are using a lot for the moment, but I'm sure there will be more.
Agree. Definitely, there will be many more, even the tools that, from productivity or generative side, that will help us to be more creative side or quickly generate the values, right? So we are in a period that we have to learn too much and too quickly, because the tools and the things we are using even the way we communicate with people, like to make, to communicate more people, we can make some productivity hacks, right? And at the same time, from the design education perspective, we have, I would say we have some gaps. Because, so institutional-wise, or even small courses, like they are doing to follow what's is trend and what is prepared. So I know that Jimmy, you have some experiences in learning things in university and teaching them. So what gaps do you see, and how you evaluate this direction?
Yeah, I agree with the question as well. I really think curriculums, like academic curriculum, are not being updated fairly. Like there are still a lot of universities follow up a 10-year-old or 20 years old in an era like your question. Every year almost, I'm exaggerating maybe now, but really every year we can update the curriculum. Like, so for me, this is one point, is like, yeah, a bit, the curriculums, academic curriculums are aging and they need really a proper update to stay like designers or to keep up with the designers and the world we're living in today. And what I try to do, I mean, it's not like rocket science, but I make sure that teams work collaboratively, that there's no, we all knew it back then when we were still at school or so, where one maybe person work more than the others. There's always like one more talented or skilled and so on, that I attribute, in a way, leadership or attribute different disciplines within the group. So for example, I am still teaching like user experience and packaging. So even if it's only the package concept, then in a team of 4 students, there will be people who are dealing with the virtual reality, another with research, another with sketching. So I make the best out of the different talents so they really learn this multidisciplinary, even in a very simple packaging course. So I try to really, when I teach in a university which allow this freedom, to include this multidisciplinary, because even if it's, the students are aiming to becoming specialists and not generalists or whatever, that we can always tweak and let them explore and so on. So this curated freedom that we can give to students is key, even if it doesn't comply 100% with the given curriculum.
And I mean, you'll hear more about it in my talk a bit later, but we've launched Blup Academy, and that's an opportunity for us not just to teach about design skills and you know, how you create. I mean, you can find it online, but it's about how you understand and how you understand money, how to sell your artwork, how to network, how to have the confidence in the room. It's all these things that are not taught at university or you can't really find online.
Exactly.
So we developed a program, and it's basically spoken about and taught the way I would want to be learned and what I had to do from university through to real life. And it's the fundamentals of life. It's about the confidence and it's about how to live. So once you learn that, then you'll be, you can have a fun with designing because you have the basics also.
This is amazing also, like people in the industry, them creating this academy or program and so on, that really like, they know the perspective. It's not like you're behind the scene, you're in the market. This is amazing. Yeah.
This is very, very true what you're saying, because we're partnering up with 3 universities in Germany, so we're working together with students a lot, and their craftsmanship is never the problem. They have great skills. There's like better, like third semester is better than some designers I'm working with since 10 years or whatever. Yeah, this is not the challenge. This is not the problem. But exactly what you said is, designing is problem solving and a people business. Yeah, I'm working with people in my team, I'm working with clients, I'm working with users or whatever. So this is from my experience often like a big what the fuck when they come into after, like they have great skills, can create great designs, but you're not an artist because you need to solve problems, and this is design, and then you need to take in consideration people and so on and so forth. And there's always a huge learning curve because the studies and so on and so forth do not show that much in this area. So thank you very much for creating the academy.
The academy.
I'll sign you off for free.
Yeah, we see the trends that academies, boot camps, even next 3 days we have a boot camp.
Yeah,
People
Touch
learn.
RGB, for example, also.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, so we touched the key points of the skills and skill sets too. So in terms of leadership, even communicative wise, so what are the key from your perspective that you mentioned that you want others to learn several things the way I want it to be learned. So what are those things?
The things I think I've always wanted to know is how to manage stress. I think because we're in an industry where there's a lot of expectations on your creative mind, and again, this is not taught. So I had to find ways to cope. So it's meditation, it's breathing, it's again just calming my mind down to have that ultimate solution. And I think just those little things are the fundamentals and the building blocks to actually creating the right answer. So it's just basically just going as deep as possible about yourself and about your feelings and about your confidence in order to get the best result. Because you can't go in from the top and expect to get the best answers. You have to look deep within. So that's my process.
Yeah, this is great to hear that, because I really think also we are being unfair with designers, even that they or we work from, like, I don't know, we're expected to work efficiently from 9 to 5, just like, no offense for bankers, just like someone who is not dealing with maybe creative innovation every second of their daily life or 40 hours a week or whatever it is. So I really think exactly managing stress, or how do I manage with like a certain confusion or non-understanding the problem, what tools I can use. We are so used, okay, here in the company we use Adobe XD or Adobe Suite, or no, we are not allowed to use it because we work in a multinational company and we have other, so much technical, which in a way, that sounds harsh, but in a way contradicts with an organic, natural way where ideas will be born. So managing stress and like helping people to find their own voice. Rarely it happens. Unfortunately, it also, again, to this classical way of thinking, it falls into, how many years you've been working here, and then when you are in a senior level, you might be able to decide something. You might be able to negotiate 4-day week work instead of 5, but it also has nothing to do with hierarchy. It has to do with every person. So this is a lot of work to be done there.
I would like to add one thing to that, because I think there is a misconception of good quality equals a lot of time. Because stress and so on and so forth, and freedom, absolutely check marks, but often you get the feedback, or you catch yourself by thinking, oh, I need more time. Yes, of course, sometimes you need more time, that's true, but more time doesn't necessarily mean more quality or better quality. And I think this is a huge misconception I see a lot and I hear a lot. And leadership in this context is, I think, a lot about enablement and self-responsibility. And these are the first steps, identifying, for example, this misconception of, am I always thinking of, I need more time to become better, or do I need more time to make a better quality? And when you work on that and solve that, it's about process, it's about experience, it's about not time as quality indicator, but yourself as a quality indicator. I think it's very important to work on that, to be then in a status where you can enable yourself, where you're more self-responsible, and then you can also be the lighthouse for others, or the North Star for others to inspire and to help them to get rid of certain misconceptions in our industry.
I totally agree. I have to also add this to this fluidity. That's why we always have projects where they think they need more time than they can deliver, but no. Or other projects, we finished earlier. So it's always, there's no one-size solution for everything. So this like time and quality should be way more fluid, because it depends on the project management, on the context, on the ask, on a million other topics. Very interesting,
Several days ago, I read on X that the soon you move from time to value in many directions, the better like outcomes and the values you should great, especially the wealth. It's not always money, it's wealth is time for other things too. I think that. So, well, in order to gain those skills, it does not have to be like to get a course or go to some universities well known. It's always from the people you have around, maybe around it through the network even, right, digitally. So how can designers build a network of mentors and peers to share ideas and combat creative isolation?
I mean, coming here is one of the first steps to that. Getting to know people. I know that these events are sometimes like hard to attend, and maybe you're a little bit shy, and maybe you're not talking to people who are interesting, or even to us or to me. I mean, I'm maybe I don't look like that, but I'm not that bad, so you can ask me anything. Yeah, just approaching, asking. For example, even I'm still doing that. Yeah, after every talk or workshop or whatever, and somebody talks to me, the first thing is, because nobody expecting that, is when I'm asking, okay, what's your feedback? Yeah, because everybody says, hey, that was cool or not cool, and thank you. Okay, what can I do better? I'm asking, and then everybody's like, I don't know. No, but it is. But this is kind of always trying to keep up the conversation on events like this, or also online. Yeah, I mean, there are also many different ways with the live stream we did, for example. I showed was a cool way to interact, and yeah, just reach out to the people or to the organizations which are interesting. There's always some kind of city or conference or whatever close to you where you can connect and where you can check out. I have great friends from in Japan, just because or in Tokyo, just because I wrote the guys on Twitter back then if I can visit, because I just love their work, and they said yes, sure, come by, and we connected, and we are still friends until today. So this is really, it is actually pretty simple. It's just like it's hard, but it's simple.
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that you said, and you're spot on. I've been going to conferences like this for the past 15 years and meeting hundreds of people, and I'm quite good with faces, so I recognize people 5 years down the line and stuff. But the question is, how do you reach out to people, and how do you get them into your world? And the number one thing I always say is, you have to shine so bright that you attract those people to you, okay? So, for example, if you're a creator, you have to have a good portfolio online. You have to have a good Instagram or a good TikTok, or even just like a nice website, so you can show the person. For example, when I was reaching out to a couple of my mentors, I wouldn't just say, hey, I'm dying, can you mentor me? It was a bit of a plan. So I'm thinking, all right, I need this guy in my life.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I noticed he's at this show. He knows, a famous rapper, or he knows, he's a manager. Okay, so instead of speaking to that guy, let me speak to his best friend, right? And it's almost doing a little bit of digging, reaching out to his friends and say, hey, man, love what you're doing with, say, I don't know, Stormzy, or someone famous that you want to know. You get to know them, and the next minute, they're inviting you to their event. So it's all about finding different avenues to eventually get where you want to be. It's a little bit stalkerish, but it is the natural way. And just think, how do you want to be approached yourself? And that's how you should approach other people to build your network.
It's similar to how to be so good that they can't ignore you. Like, how to use the networks of others to reach your direction.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 points are totally on point. Maybe I could add something I always think of. We rarely reach out to people in our circles, I have the feeling. Like, I have enough design friends that work in different contexts, multinational company, on the client side, in-house, small, 3 people's agency, and so on. And maybe we feel that when I meet for a coffee on an evening or on the weekend, I don't want to talk work. But back to the question, of course, the strategy part and the networking and events, amazing. These are maybe the plan A, plan B, but plan C is even way closer maybe, just to talk with people we know, how they are approaching stuff. And for me, it's of course not like mentorship, but I see also, I see mentorship also without hierarchy, like how the other people are solving problems in their own context and so on. So reach out to our community can be also a way to expand this knowledge or share, and yeah, and surely it will be mutual. So it's nice.
Perfect. So we have a last question that we can maybe modify and differentiate in a different ways. So what's your expectation about the Catalyst design shakeup? From your perspective, the state of today, right? What shakeup things you expect or can predict a little bit in near future for us that touches the way design thinks in terms of processes or the doing things?
I don't want to become a fortune teller,
That's your fault.
as I said. But I think we created a little kind of workshop format where we try to, when we are with clients or bigger organizations or partners or universities, and where we have a close relationship, it's a little workshop where, for example, the method is called service blueprint, which means that it's basically you're looking, what do I do every day? Yeah, what are my most common tasks? What are the most complicated tasks? And what is behind that? Yeah, who am I? Who do I need? What kind of tools do I use, etc., etc. To really break down, and then we are actually, and this is kind of process modeling a little bit, and then we are asking, okay, in this context, can AI help you with that? Yeah, in this very easy context. And they say, I don't know. But then they start to deal with that. And then maybe it's not ChatGPT again, but maybe it is just kind of the normal automation of your MacBook or whatever, yeah, helping you in certain processes. Or you maybe don't need, or maybe you didn't know how to use a certain product or whatever in the right way. This is not 100% answering your question, but what I want to emphasize here is that you can start by yourself, looking what is happening, and not just like following the next visual trend, cool Instagram brutalism, whatever. I can't see it anymore, but it's cool. But I can't see it anymore because it is a visual trend happening since 5 years. And what's the new one? So are we waiting for Apple creating the Vision Pro UI with iOS 18 and everything looks different now again, or are we taking a look at what I'm doing, what I can do, what I can influence, yeah, and taking care of what could be next steps here. So I think besides of looking on the big thing, the big guru helping me to say what's happening next, try to deep dive into the topics you are interested in and you are dealing with, even if it's a mega trend or just a process you're doing every day, and then you will find something where you can contribute to what's happening next, because we are all kind of influencers, at least in our own cosmos. And I think this is a good approach of thinking, not waiting for the next big bang, but trying to be part of it in some way. Yeah. So this is what I can say without becoming a fortune teller.
Yeah, so every fortune or the thing starts from like know what you have, even allow what you have, and understanding from there that what you can improve in different directions. So any future things to add?
Yeah, just I loved what Jonas said. I agree. I always call them sometimes what you said, like what we start with what we are interested in, and I totally agree with that. I call them sometimes like the small victories, even like, as I mentioned in my keynote, like this drop down, making it more inclusive or something. Sometimes we think about changing the world and like to make side projects or trying to get investors for a new project. But if we start with like small things and call them like small victories, I think the bunch of these small things might become the new standard in the future. So without any extra tool or so, if so with, why not? But like these small victories can be the way to educate the client, to cause change or to achieve change, and so on. Yeah.
So, time is up. Oh. If you don't want to predict something.
No, I mean, the only thing I predict, is, as creators, train yourself to see what is an AI automation, or train yourself to know what the machine is doing. Because when you look at an image from the normal person, they think that an artist has created that. If you can understand how this thing is working, how it's shaping our future, you can stay ahead of the game. So then you're always trying to develop yourself as well. So don't be scared, understand it. And what they say is keep your enemies closer. Right?
Yeah.
So keep your enemies closer and see it.
Very good.
Time is up. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, our panelists.
That's it.
So,
Yeah, thanks.
see everyone around. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Nice one.